free to do whatever you want. Do you know who you are? You are free to do whatever you want. You're free to do whatever you want. Do whatever you want. Do you know who you are? Do you know who you are? Do you know who you are?
Check, baby, check, baby, check. 1, 2. Quick audio check, ladies and gentlemen.
Do you know who you are? Do you know who you are?
Check, baby, check. 1, 2. Audio check. Check, baby, check. 1, 2. Audio check. Check, baby, check. 1, 2. Audio check.
Do you know who you are? Do you know who you are?
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Just getting started here. Running late today. Had class today, so we're. Oh, now you're on the big screen. All right, hold on, everybody. Let me fix something before we get this show started here. Fix Pedro's screen. I don't know why that defaulted to the other one. Oh, computer running slow. Need new computer. You got a new computer, didn't you, Pedro? Makes sense. All right, I'm going to turn the mics on for you, Pedro. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Welcome to DYOR Live here on the DYOR Media Network. My name is Tom, otherwise known as Striking, here in the digital media world. So glad to be hosting another episode of this great show. We call what? We call it DYOR Live, ladies and gentlemen. And that's and just had free time. He even threw me for a loop. Anyway, it's March 10th, 2026. One day closer to my birthday, one day closer to Christmas, and one day closer to the sun going supernova, solving all of our Bitcoin issues here about sitting around 70 to 67,000 and not doing anything at all. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, my co-host, Mr. Pedro Garcia, the crypto chart analyst in the house. His mic is off too. Anyway, welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen. It is Technical Tuesday. It's Tuesday. I don't know if we're going to do the full Technical Tuesday. We just got a short show for you today. But we'll talk about the markets. Bitcoin attempted to move, didn't move. Oil coming way back down under that 120. Went up 40%, came down 50%. Freaked everybody out. All the articles. This one over here on CNBC next to me here is talking about stagflation and all that. And oil would have 120 to 150 oil would have definitely pushed that into the areas which people talk about actually happening. Thankfully, it's back to $80 a barrel now or something like that. Something reasonably expensive, not outrageously expensive. And of course, gold is still up there, wanting to push towards its highs. But just I think the war and the crude oil was getting all of the action and volume. So gold took a backseat for a few days. Woke up a little today, though.
Yeah, I did. Started pumping a little, but it's just sideways for the last 2 hours. 2 or 3 hours, it's been just sideways. I thought we were gonna bust through the 8. We've been in between that 8 and 20 on gold, and so it's just it's ping ponging, and then you also have higher time frame SMAs, man, that are playing around that around that area. So gold is real interesting.
Yeah, in fact, it had a big run up here, and a lot of people were waiting for a pullback. El no pullback-o did come-o. That was my addressing our Spanish audiences on the separate audio program there.
Yeah, well, I still think it's going to. I mean, the way it's playing right now, it's just. I don't think the world can handle gold at 5,000, 4,000. It just can't. Like if you look at the PC prices, everything's slowing down based off of that. And so if they can't, I mean, if they're literally scrambling to find new materials for induction or for electrical components to run on, because if gold and silver are going to be sitting so high, copper. It can't keep that industry up and running unless it's subsidized by the government. And even then, we're fighting in the face of China, who's looking to buy up as much silver as possible.
Gold and silver, both a problem for the supply chain, for the electronics industry. The electronics industry, as most of you well know, drives every industry, including the U.S. defense industry, and not from local United States manufacturers, but from Taiwan, Korea, China-based companies, and not a good thing for. Got this timer on here. Not a good thing for the entire supply chain of manufacturing, especially with Pedro. We're talking about bringing manufacturing back to the U.S., which there currently still is no evidence of that happening. Mm-hmm. They need to buy things, and a lot of them that deal with the defense industry are under directives to buy electronics in the United States, and not from like Joe's brokerage company who just buys them from Taiwan, but manufactured in the U.S. by U.S. owned companies with U.S. owned intellectual property. And that's a tall order to fill. However, because gold and silver is getting more expensive for the guys in Asia, pushing their prices up, it is bringing a little equity to the market and the cost of things. That being said, the U.S. needs to get their gold and silver mining operations going in order to satisfy the demand that we have locally here. So we're not subject to Chinese export regulations on gold and silver, copper, nickel, and all the other things that China digs out of the ground. Very quickly, I might add, with no environmental regulations at all, other than go do that or you enjoy the bullet. Even here in Canada, where I am now, they've been talking about fast track. Ever since the new guy became the prime minister here, we're going to fast track mineral resources. We're going to help the provinces, because the provinces actually manage the mining and stuff like that. We're going to help them get things going faster. You can't believe it. We're going to, the car battery companies, everyone, they're going to be opening up here. They're all delaying and closing their car battery plants here in Canada, because the deal is that the Canadians would fast track the mines, get the local ingredients going, so it would be inexpensive, not have to pay China for it or somebody else, and actually create a local industry. Not happening. The government is slow walking everything. They're it's happening, yet companies have actually Stellantis said, nope, our whole battery project, we're out. Forget it, done. You guys aren't. There's no evidence that you guys are going to move at all on the project. So we're taking our $10 billion elsewhere.
It's
Did you die again on your new computer?
no. I'm just having issues with something, and I'm gonna take this off here real quick. No, I think you hit a point. Just want to put the picture up just for right now. Like you hit a point that I think is really important. Europe understands, so does Canada understand the need for kind of slowing down the red tape and regulations, because if they keep doing it, they're really going to fall behind China. China is one of those countries that's ran like a government, a centralized government, but they have their economy. A lot of it is built off of it's a hybrid between a central economy but when it runs itself, the economy itself, or let me say the funding of the government, the funding of the industries are ran like a central government, but it has a capitalist mechanism inside of itself where, if something is a good idea and everybody sees it, the government, much like in the 1930s, right, going into the 40s with the nuclear bomb, it's just there's so much money coming in that whatever they do, they can really do it. And it was subsidized, just like in the late 30s, early 40s for the nuclear bomb. Everything that they do is subsidized, so they don't have to play by the same rules. So if Europe and Canada keep playing the way they are, trying to keep those the environmental regulations as well as just the red tape, it's going to fall behind. I just don't see it fully holding what it needs to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do know what you mean. Because they essentially have to pick. They have to pick whether they want to have a centrally controlled economy or let the market forces do it. Because where they mix, all government does is slow the market down. If anyone out, especially all you youngsters, think, well, the government's a good thing and gets benefits industry and that kind of stuff. No. What the government's only good at doing is when there's unfair competition, saying, no, you can't own everything and charge people 10 times the amount and just break up monopolies. Everything else is a regulation that slows down the economy. And so with China trying to do both, the Chinese business people, they're no different than anyone else in the world. They see something that doesn't work, they iterate, they try again, they iterate, they try again, they iterate. We got it. Bang, 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 bang. Competitor does the same thing. Bang, bang, bang. But when the government's going, oh, wait a minute, you can't export this, you can't talk about this, or you have to supply it to the government at a really low price, then all of a sudden it removes that incentive for the economy to work as fast as possible. And that's why the U.S. economy is one of the reasons it's so big and so fast to move around, is because we have that ability to iterate so quickly, like the Ukrainians with their drones. There's nothing will help you iterate more than not dying. What'd you do today? I figured out a new way to not die, and we do that every day. If you needed a DJI or whatever the drone company is, come up with 72 different models in a month, they'd go, you're crazy. We'll get one or two out every 6 months. And meanwhile, Ukraine's like doing it. Same thing with the Chinese economy. That's why the Russian economy, the Soviet Union economy failed. It was completely planned. Down, if a nickel factory could produce this much, it could be used in this many factories. We could produce this many planes, all this type of stuff, and means this many accountants, this many administrators, this many truck drivers. They had it all figured out. What they didn't count on was that all the data going in the system was crap, so the system never worked. And if you see, Pedro, if you are astute, which I know you are, you'll see a lot of things on the interwebs in social medias in which people are pushing the communist narrative. And they're saying, hey, China's communist and their economy's booming and look what they accomplished. And it's all these great pictures of all the good stuff in China. And people are like, yeah, it's great, that's that type of stuff. And of course, there's the usual people like, oh, guys, come on, man, we know this is bullshit. But they're pushing it. And what people don't understand is that China is not a communist planned economy. It's exactly what you said it is. It's a hybrid. The government subsidizes a whole bunch of things. The government owns a whole bunch of things. And then the government tells people what they can and can't do. But for the large part, factories take orders from foreigners as much as they want, and build whatever they want. They build your fake doggy do. They build all your Santa Christmas lights. They build everything that you can possibly think of now. And it's not a communist-run planned economy. It's a market economy that's working very well for the factories that build stuff for us. Their real estate market isn't working so well anymore, so it's too subsidized. But they make the Christmas presents cheap as possible for a reason.
Well, I think what's also to understand is like the idea of a centralized economy is good. I think it's good in the first start of economy, right? Like to help out, to assist, right? I think this is why we assist a lot with tech companies that were just getting started, right? America gave them subsidies. I mean, you look at Tesla, you look at a lot of these other companies, right? Like they needed to get up and go. So there was, in essence, a way nobody was taking on the challenge. And Elon Musk stepped up and said, I want to do this. So the government said, okay, we'll help you out. Got it going. But then they put him back once he got large enough, you know what I'm saying? Then they put him right back into the a competitive market that allowed him to reiterate and become better and better and better on a quicker level. And there was a point in time where he almost went belly up, literally because he was in that stage of like, we gonna make it? It's like every entrepreneur knows this, where you're iterating, you're doing awesome stuff, but you just need a little bit of money. And if you can get a contract or something like that, that will put you over until you really come out with that next level that you're working on. I mean, right now, the battery industry is at that level right now where we're trying. I mean, there's dope new technologies that are coming about where, like, I mean, I'll put it like this, where there's batteries that will literally take, 30 minutes, or not even 30 minutes, like 5 minutes to charge up, like for your car. For a lot of these, what do you call
for the
EV cars?
Yeah.
And the thing is there's a lot of stuff going out there. There's a lot of new engines that are being reiterated from a traditional level. They basically remathed the math through AI and realized, and I'm quoting Tom here, they were able to remath the math and create something much smaller but same output. Instead of like a 2,000 pound motor, it's like 27 pounds now. The type of stuff that they have coming is so phenomenal. And it's just like, I think when I look at the large scope of things, like in 20, 30 years, 50 years, like things are going to be totally different. And like 5 years, just 5 years from now, dude, the dopeness that's going to be, like, I'm looking forward to my own Rosie, right? Like with the
Jetsons robot. For those,
the Jetson robot.
Youngsters, it was a cartoon back in the day with Fred Flintstone, in which the family had a robot made called Rosie. Not referring to Rosie.
No, meaning, well, dude, you had to go there. No,
totally.
Well, of course. But like in the same sense, I think it's just kind of cool to see what's actually happening there altogether when you look at where the market is going. And jumping back to what we're saying, the centralized government of Soviet Union, Russia, was something that just couldn't handle for such a large economy that needed more iteration. I mean, was it Gorbachev who said when he walked into the American stores, grocery stores, that he knew, he's like, there's no way that our economy, like 15 different types of apples, 4 different types of pears, you had 3 or 4 different types of grapes, like he was just like, there's no way that we'd be able. So he knew from then that this is we're done. Like there's just
Yeah,
we've got to change it.
they all knew it. They were all just milking it as long as they could.
Really was. Speaking of milking, let's talk about BTC.
Bitcoin, ladies and gentlemen, coming in at 70,000. Look, Bitcoin's been trying. It's been trying, and the maxis and the influencers and everybody are like, they're saying it's loading, and I'm like, it's gonna dump on you guys because some ETF is gonna unload all of their stuff for one of their clients who's lost faith. I just made that up, but I have a feeling that it just feels like that's going to happen. Someone's going to give up.
I don't know. It's like I don't think it's going to fully go away. Like I think,
I didn't say go away. I just said go to 50 or 40,000.
Oh, okay. I see that. But like ultimately, anywhere between where we're sitting, like even if honestly, if it gets down to 10,000, I'm not shocked. Like I'm not like I've said this multiple times. Anywhere between 10,000 to 100,000, Bitcoin is a steal. Like it's just because as time progresses, as we become much more advanced as a society, you're going to need some form of sound money in which the whole entire debt system is built off. The debt system is not going away. It will not go away. It will never go away. Because if we do that, progress as we know it will slow down to a snail's pace. There's just no way of seeing a progressive, vibrant economy develop without debt, because you need to borrow money, hence putting it into the correct.
Or my mic was on mute. Sorry, go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Oh, no. So it was just, you can't see it. So BTC is one of those ones that it's like, I think this is the most efficient money there can be. And so the fact is that we know where it's going. And I think, as Michael Saylor says, I expect to see, like he's like, I'm going to be one of the foundational companies that will do loans, that will give out loans, that will allow people to be able to, make money.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Once again, I must have a little delay here today. I'm constantly interrupting you, thinking you're done.
It's okay, bud. Oh, go ahead.
No, I want to reinforce the fact that debt is needed for an economy, a properly running economy, because especially developing economies. You think, you don't want the Central America, they go into debt and it's horrible. Economies don't start to flourish until a couple of things happen. One is they have the rule of law. They need the rule of law to flourish, because the rule of law allows money to be safe, investments to be safe. So they need the rule of law. After the rule of law, you can have credit. You have a legal system, and then you can have credit. And credit is code word for debt, is needed for companies to start. And for not everybody is just a super rich guy and starts a company with cash. That's 1% of companies. 90 or probably less than that. 0.1%. Most of them are started with debt. You borrow money from family, friends, investors, the bank, whatever. And a lot of those debt instruments, like they talk about it now, the private credit market, are traded. They're traded. The banks package up their loans. They trade them as debt instruments. You're the guy paying. You're still paying the bank, but like your mortgage, you pay the bank, but they sold that shit to another group, and they're just the operator earning a fee every month for collecting your money. And so debt is needed in economies for them to work. And when the Bitcoin maxis say we want to fully on Bitcoin, there'll be no inflation and can't have debt. I mean, obviously, people are going to still come up with ways to lend against Bitcoin. I get it. But in the inherent system of it, debt isn't there. It's impossible. It's impossible. Just your economy won't grow. You'll basically be serfs. You won't be allowed to increase the population. You just imagine telling the Teamsters or the steelworkers or teachers unions, no raises anymore. That's it. Just sorry. You can't ever increase the budget. It's got to stay right at this. So credit's needed, inflation's needed, all that type of stuff.
Well, you would have to change the mindset of, I mean, how many generations? 5 generations, 6 generations since the 1950s, 40s, right? Where like, and I mean, those are the people who grew up in the 1940s and 50s who really didn't experience like inflation as we see it today. Their inflation was based off of real producer growth,
Right.
and a real need for buying of American goods. Because we're in such a different different world economy. You know, your great grandpa, even your grandpa, grew up in a different inflationary environment. What we're dealing with today, for you 19 to us 40-year-olds, right? We grew when we came into the economy, in 2007, 8, 9, when we started getting going, right? 28 to 30 or 25 to 30. You guys instantly got hit with inflation that's really suppressed the economy, and everything was going overseas. And so even though your pay rate was going up, so were goods and services,
Right.
based off of a lack of production, which destroyed, like you said, like a slow rot over middle class America, and where we saw housing jump up. And Tom always, screams this from the mountains, where he literally says we need more supply in housing. Jumping back to the economy, this is something where we can't have that type of inflation. We need real producing inflation, where we see an economy that actually produces things and that are exported to other people who want it, and those jobs produce a real wage versus it being based off of a desk system, right? A one-for-one production. And then when the producer is selling more and more people want it, that's when we see real growth come. And it's what we saw in the 1940s and 50s and 60s and 70s.
And then we exported everything to China and sent the middle class packing. And that, my friend, was that. Although, as many people say, the fat lady has not sung yet, Pedro. We can still bring it back. Steve Jobs famously told Barack Obama those jobs are never coming back, referring to Apple, but he was referring to the whole industry, electronics industry, really. We can bring it back. We just need someone with the cojones to say this needs to happen. And perhaps after Mr. Trump sees people not actually following his direction for home shoring these things, he'll force it. In which he has many ways to force it, especially starting with the defense industry, just saying, starting, in 6 months, you have to just source everything in the U.S. Cause the whole thing to come to a halt, but they'll get over it and they'll fix it.
Well, does he have the executive power to do that? Because, right now with all the stuff that's happening within...
He's the head administrator of the Defense Department. He's the commander-in-chief, and he can just direct, he can order them as the senior military officer, only buy from United States suppliers.
Well, they already, like you said, they source it out, they build it somewhere else, and then they sell it in the U.S. to the government. Right now, we're saying it needs to be fully sourced in America, produce all goods that are produced. We're saying like we want 100% of everything that is gone from the ground up needs to be produced here in America versus being produced in Taiwan and then being brought over to America and assembled in America. That's not what we're speaking. You're saying, okay, U.S. government, or the U.S. government, armed forces, everything that you go through and you procure, it needs to be sourced from the ground or from the mine up. That would change, and I don't disagree.
Talk about fundamentally changing. Obviously, they would take them, if they did an all-hands effort, like saying, all right, remove the regulations, get mines on it.
Way too many enemies. There's no way.
It would take a long time to do that. You'd have to say minimum 10 years.
Yeah.
To get that going. But that's full compliance. Just 5% compliance would be awesome. Just bring in 5% back of the stuff we buy for the military industry. And then since that capabilities in the US, suddenly other people are buying that stuff. I don't mean missile buying. I mean, a company that makes missiles also makes drones and manufactures all kinds of stuff. computers or whatever the story is.
Trump could not rally the Democrats to back him. There's just no way. I mean, what we saw with the State of the Union,
Those assholes, the
Dude.
Democrats they're just I'm sorry, Democrats that you're listening. I don't mean your general personalities. I mean the policies that you guys are backing right now. For instance, shutting down people getting home from spring break, like citizens and students, like striking at. She may not be able to come home for spring break because the Democrats have shut down Homeland Security, and the lines at airports, certain airports lines are 5 to 6 hours long. People are missing their flights. The airlines are like, our flights are full. We don't have extra seats. We can't just say all these people missed. Between Chicago and Denver, there's, they run flights every 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And between when you miss one of those flights, you can't just, if you miss like 6 of them, all those people can't just go on the next flights. They're full. They're already full. And I wrote my congressman yesterday, Pedro, and I was very unhappy with her. Problem is, she's lame duck. She's not running for office again. She's only been in office 40 years, so she's out. But I said, look, you guys are choosing illegal immigrants over American citizens by not funding Homeland Security. And the Democrats are like, yep, we're doing that. It's going to bring you pain. Well, no, everyone in Chicago that's flying back, they're all Democrats because they only vote Democrat in Chicago. It's like all the students that come home from spring break are going to miss their flights. They say, well, just come earlier. You're like, come 5 hours. Well, they have class. You mean say, oh, skip school? Because the Democrats want you to skip school? There's a message for you, Democrats. Skip school. If you remember the old Simpsons episode where they had Fox News playing, and the Chiron on the bottom. Chiron is this ticker thing we have down here. The Chiron just says, Democrats cause cancer. Because it was so biased. The news show was so biased.
Yeah.
And Simpsons was on Fox, or has always been on Fox, so it's pretty funny.
Yeah.
But sorry, I got off on a side tangent there. But
no, but I think my main point was this, is that if we were to jump back into the system where things are made here in America, produced from the ground up, it would at least take 10 years to actually get it up and running. And that's if everything is running according where we actually have a nation that wants to support a pro-American economy, right? Like, look, I hate to say it like this, but if Trump was to simply say, all right, Democrats, look, I was wrong. You're right. Let's make these illegal immigrants. We'll bring them in. Fair enough. But in addition to that, let's get jobs that they can really work. Let's start producing here in America that actually produces from ground up. Sourced, built, and sold in America by Americans for Americans.
right.
That in itself, if he was to just admit he was wrong in some of his actions and say, let's have some bipartisan.
Hold on, I've got an emergency phone call here.
There's that's Thomas taking care of that. I think that would change the whole entire environment in America. I think it would soften hearts up in Congress. We would actually see a real movement, right? Where you have Democrats and Republicans, and enough with the whole entire. And the reason why I say this is because it causes so much division, right? The idea of the transgender movement, that just needs to go to rest. Like, until we get this economy really on point, right? And we have real jobs coming in. Listen, I truly believe that transgender individual who would rather have a really good paying job and being able to rear their children how they so deem in an economy that is growing, that is flourishing. I think they would backtrack on, I would say they would step back on the agenda and literally allow for a real economy that grows. That would change things dramatically for both ends, for both far ends. And so I sit there in frustration because people just don't understand that. Like they want their own point. Like I think it was Abraham Lincoln who says it's amazing how much you can get done if people do not care who gets the credit. And I do think so. I think that's a huge thing. So on the back end, you have many people who literally are pushing something to the detriment of the country. And this is not like slavery. This is not like even the Jim Crow laws. You know what I'm saying? It's just not. This is not like that. Those were fundamental circumstances and situations that people could not change about themselves. There's just a lot here. We're going to go over some of the charts here. And we'll go for it. Let's check out. We're going to do a quick little mini-me Technical Tuesday here. So first and foremost, let's check out what the economy overall is doing around the world. We're actually seeing a little pullback from the 190 area here. We've been up in this level here for the iShare Euro. Is I think what they call it. It's like an acronym, like Europe, Russia, something. I forget exactly what it is, but it's like the world ETF. All the top stocks in the world. I think they put like 5,000 in it. So this covers what the economy is doing around the world and how things are going. And you can see here that we've been just playing off of this monthly 8. You guys can see here on the monthly 8, we've been playing off of that during COVID, or not COVID, but during the tariff talk and back in April of 25th. We did see the big sell-off, but we've been just playing off of this level. Now, one of the things I want to add here is that with what we're seeing within the economy, like at large, this is starting to do a bit of a rollover, and we're playing, honestly, we've been playing off that 100-day period moving average right here. You can see that's the yellow line you see right here. And typically, this has been the support. You can sit there and see, like, once we hit it, boom, like we come down off the 50, hit the 200, but then we hit the 50, came back down to the almost 100, but boom, you saw it push back up. But we've been just struggling to continue higher, right? And so that gets really hard when you're pushing up. You need more sellers. And so one of the things you should expect is if they can't push it up and you keep seeing this type of movement where it just can't continue up, right? Expect it to sell off. And so this is what we've been seeing over the last few weeks. So you can see here since February 27th, we just saw the sell off here. Boom, came back down, pushed back up. Now, my biggest concern here, and again, this is the economy at large, okay? The economy at large around the world. Okay, you can see here that it's now, we had our crossover, and we're coming up for the test here on the 8. So this is one of those things that I want to see some big volume come in right here, some buy volume, because if not, then the next level is to come and test that 100 or that 200-day period moving average. Now, this is going to be the first test we've had, right, since April. And, you can see typically when we hit it, it hits pretty hard. And we do typically see a fairly good amount of volume, which is right here. You can see here we had a decent amount of volume come in. Obviously, you had a lot of people buying at these lows. But my biggest key that I'm looking at here is this, is that if we don't see some big volume coming in here as it's retesting the kind of highs here, that's a sign that we're most likely going to see another sell-off to that 200, which is sitting at that 177 area. I still think if we start to see major sell-off coming down to that 61 area, to the 57, and again, this would mean that the world's economy is going to drop for about, what would that be? Boom, 19. So 190, we'll say 20, so 190, 180, 170. So we're talking 10 to 15% pullback as a correction. And that would be around here, around that 160 area, 150 area. So it's one of those things that I'm looking at going, that's very plausible. And especially with the slowdown, a lot of words, a lot of people mincing the words of the R word, right? We say recession, right? Because, I mean, we were in a recession a long time ago, but now it's just finally being talked about. I was talking with somebody the other day, and I literally said, we've been in a recession. If you look at the numbers, the revised numbers from Biden, okay, and even Trump, in a sense, right, his first term, there were numbers that were faked. They were absolutely faked. And then we started seeing them really come out, the real numbers, towards the end. I mean, if you look at Biden's last month in office, those were the real numbers that came out. Okay. And so and then you saw revisions, and we're talking up to 1 million jobs, or I think it was like $2 million were revised over a period of like 1 year, which is a dramatic amount. I mean, you think about 100,000, 120,000 jobs a month that they were claiming that we did not have. So those numbers were indicated in a sense where our economy was slowing down prior to that, right? Prior to Trump, and Trump has been trying to build it. But again, he can't get out of his own way. There you are, my friend. Hey,
yeah, made it back.
You okay? Is everything all right, bro?
Yeah, just an internet emergency.
Okay, no worries. So I just think it's really interesting. So again, if we keep going down this route, which I've been talking about forever, whereas like Trump literally has 3 months now to build those jobs, and it's looking like it's probably not going to happen. So we're going to see a world of hurt, and everybody in the world knows that, especially money managers. You can see here, like I talked about, he has till the end of March to really get things up and running, because if you can't, they're already positioning the world's finance, already positioning for us to continue down lower, and potentially even a sell-off of the 15% with real contraction, I think, in the economy. Because when that recession hits America, America is the buyer of last resort for the rest of the world's crap. So that is
go Walmart.
Yeah, in essence, right? And so with that, you would see then a pullback. It would almost be like a circle. What comes first, the chicken or the egg, right? So it's going to be real interesting. So that's why we go over this right now, the URTH, because it's starting to show weakness. And then now we're also seeing a kind of topping over where we got below the 100-day period moving average with strength. Look, you saw us coming down. This is the 100. And then when we came down and we hit the 200, right, that 200 period moving average is, again, getting closer to us. And so if we close below that 200 period moving average, right, like we're coming up and testing this 8, we're coming up and testing the 100-day period moving average right now. All of these moving averages are screaming, hey, we're probably going down. I mean, and I don't want to point some out to Tom. Tom, what do you see right here? Right? Boom.
To be honest, I can't really see your chart that well. Here, let me bring up the other. Hold on, let me bring up the other window here. Okay, I can see your screen better now.
Okay, what are we seeing here, right? You see this right here, boom. You see this right here, boom. You see this right here, boom. It's a leveling out. Okay, and then what are we seeing right here? Most importantly, this right here, right? You're seeing a twist. And so when you start to see this, I expect the hurt to come in, right? You can go over patterns for hundreds of years, or not 100, but like
a long time.
A long time. And you can sit there and see when this pattern happens, you typically will sit there and see an economy that turns around. And this economy has been here. This area right here, I think what's interesting is that as you come down to it, if the market sells off with the real economy, which has been happening since Biden's second year of Biden, right? We were in the downturn during Biden's administration coming on. Trump, like I said, even into Trump's first administration, we didn't have the real numbers, right? So now that they're actually going over the real numbers, they're actually going back and really delivering the correct ones. We're watching it now start to show weakness, right? I think this stems all the way back from COVID. I don't think this was this whole entire pump here isn't a real pump. And that sounds crazy because, like, if you look at COVID, we've talked about this. COVID pump literally came from 3,500 and we've doubled. So, like, the real economy could fall, and we could see something, where it kind of looks like this. Now, is it going to happen overnight? I don't think so. I think we'll see more of a 2000 fall, right? Not a we're not going to see like a 2008 fall or even a COVID drop, right? I think it's going to look more like this, right? Most people realize this was they call it the .com bubble, but it was basically from 2000 all the way down, and we went from our stock market went from 1,500 all the way to about 767, basically losing half its value.
Right.
And so this is what I kind of see happening from 2000 to 2003 here. So, it may look something, I think there might be some portions of where we just see drops, heavy drops, with bad news. But that's what I'm expecting to see if this thing really starts to pick up. And seeing value going from 6,800, we could see it go to 3,400, which is roughly right here. This is the COVID drop. And so that's why I'm looking at it going like, and potentially even that 2,200. But again, it's all dependent on what's going to happen with the job market, what's going to happen in individual paychecks between people going out and buying. People rely on us buying their crap all over. So looking at that, then when we see the NASDAQ is also showing weakness. It's pretty much the same thing, but it's actually further down on that scale because we are testing that 200, and that 200 is looking weak to me. So to me, I'm looking at it going like, should drop. Look at your Dow Jones, the YM. YM is literally tapping that 100 as we speak today. And I think we're going down. YM is the top 50 stocks in the world, right? I think we're going down and we're testing this to come back down. And I think that 44,000 is a potential play, right? That you could take from the 87 to 44. And roughly, we were talking about literally almost a month ago, all-time highs. All-time highs. Remember, they were saying all-time highs. We kept hearing, what's her name? The blonde girl who was in front of the government talking about the Jeffrey Epstein files. Bondi. She kept saying, Attorney General. Thank you. 50,000. Don't you know that the Dow Jones just hit 50,000, right? She kept saying that. It was just like, bro, but we're talking to you about Jeffrey Epstein. When I hear that type of talk, I think I even said, I'm expecting the market to sell up because literally that's the front runner. Like get all the name, get all the good news out there, get people to buy and expect it to go down, right? Because they're taking the other side. And that's exactly what we're seeing right here, right? It's just playing the next play here down. And when you look at it like that, at 15% is literally 15,000 points lower. If you look at that, from 50, that's 35,000 right here. Again, COVID, right? So actually COVID is right here, 22, right? The lows right here. So that'd be 28,000. That would be crazy. Ooh. I'm thinking 15% pullback, which is going to be that 30. If it's a 20% pullback, we're talking 20,000 points. Right, that's a pretty big pullback, and so that would be all the way down at that. The high, that'd be 30,000 right here, and that would be around the COVID level. So it's potential. I mean, the numbers are stacking up. The certain things, 20% pullback. We're starting to see weakness come in. Jobs that Trump has been claiming, and he tried to push them through, but we're seeing less jobs, or we're seeing jobs being created, but more jobs being lost. One, to just no demand in the economy, so people are not being hired. So that's what makes things go down, right? Because it all comes back down to one thing: jobs. And I don't mean Mr. Steve. But so jump in here. Now let's go into a couple things here real quick. When you look at the market at large, right? One of the things I always say is look at the bonds, and they'll tell you where the interest rates, and where the interest rates go, there goes what? The economy. So you can see here that the 10-year yield here, we saw the pickup of it going from 39. Now it's starting to come and test this 413 area. So if it can hold here, and we see it goes up, and we see it go up, we could see yields get the next level of yields is literally the 4.3 area. So again, I don't think that's going to happen, but you never know. If the economy really starts to slow down, the Fed will have to lower rates. So, but how far will they step in, right? When will they step in? Are they going to push up?
Not this week.
Yeah, I agree. So we're seeing the 10-year here. When you look at the 10-year bond as well, they're not, like, if you look at it, even though we're seeing the sell-off here, honestly, I thought we were going to see a push up even higher, but now it's starting to, like, we're just seeing volume die out here. So it's like, okay, we'll see what's happening here. But ultimately, like, if this starts to sell off, which is the 10-year bond, that means yields are going up. So I'm just kind of waiting and seeing here overall. But I do think I think Trump is going to be able to pull it off. I do think he's going to be able to pull it off. He's going to be, I don't know how he's going to do it, but I think he's going to do it. So that's why I'm thinking, the economy's going bad. This would be great. And this is my narrative happening in my head. The economy is starting to slow down. We're starting to see things really starting to consolidate here. If it does, people are going to sell off, go to cash, earn interest. One, just as a safety mechanism, right? Like, they're looking. But if we're in a recession and a declining system, where else are they going to put their money? I think they're going to put in Bitcoin.
Bitcoin, bitches.
Yep. A bunch of midgets. Did you say midgets?
Bitches.
Oh, bitches. Oh, okay.
Bitches.
Midgets.
Those would be Satoshis.
Satoshis. Boom. So you can see here, let's talk about Ethereum real quick. I talked about Ethereum as one of my plays, right? As we were coming down into this liquidity of 1900. We even started looking at it back at the beginning of March here, because I said, you know what, if BTC goes up, I am expecting Ethereum to see much more of a bigger run from a percentage level. I mean, when you look at the 2000, right? I mean, we're sitting at 75,000. If this puts a new all-time high, we're talking that's 5,000 plus, which means I think would be an easier push for Ethereum over BTC, right? When I look at, that's why I was looking at Crow as well, right? Crow just saw a decent spike up, as you can see here. This is Tom's favorite.
Decent spike up. That looks like down in the shitter to me.
Yeah. But what I'm saying though is that look at the volume coming in. right? And it's getting above the 8. If it gets above the 8 and 20, then we start to see it pick up, hit that 50, see it come back down, and then we'll see it go back up. So it's just, we'll see what happens here. But I'm expecting this to see it continue higher. Alrighty, my friend. So yeah, just like I said, this is a quick little technical Tuesday. It's we got started at 2 o'clock. So
But I really don't have any news to talk about today. I was in class earlier, so my attention span was taken up by that. Glad we got a little bit of time on the air today. And learning that Crow is going to 0.
Oh man, my knees hurt.
Not a big crowd for us today. We're in a different time slot today. Didn't get the social media out or anything like that telling people we were on.
We got up to 30 people.
Thanks to everyone that watched. We did a couple people tune in on X. Not too many, but enough.
I hear you. All right. Well, guys, thank you for coming in today. But Ethereum is looking pretty. You know what's funny is all the guys who bought Brett, bro.
Oh, I turned your chart. Let me bring that. I want to see this chart.
Dude.
I mean, we all knew the money was gonna. I mean, it's a meme coin. Oh yeah, look at that.
Dude, these guys were like Jake Gagan. Like those guys literally had millions of dollars in these things. And they were like, I remember, they're like, I think it was in February of 2025 when Trump got elected. I went on their video and they're like, man, I hope, Brett sells off a little bit more. And I go, it's going to. And then somebody's like, where? And I said, I see it at like that 2 cent area, potentially. And they were like, what? It's at 9 cents, 10 cents. I go, yeah, most likely it's gonna go down to there. And like it's even further, bro. It's like, I'm like, ooh, it's like 0.007. It's like less than a cent. All those guys, man. And I wonder if they just sold off. Because a lot of them were millionaires, absolutely millionaires.
Oh, we all were at one time, Pedro.
Yeah, it's true. A couple times. All right, my friend. Anything else? I'm trying to see from a news source.
We don't need to start any news now. Oh, I know why the music was not right in your ears. I forgot to change your audio. Actually, what is it? Did I have one other thing I wanted to talk about here?
Do we?
Gold just spiked down to 168 after being above 200 all day. Oh, you know what? It was just this article that I had about talking about Iran and how he said you can't invade Iran because all these bad things will happen. And the article here just talks about it, Trump being wrong. And one of the things was that Iran's supreme leader would be untouchable and you'd never be able to stop the horrible policies they have because you can't get to that guy. We got to him. The Islamic Revolutionary, the IRGC, would deploy its terrorist proxies to ignite a regional war, meaning Hezbollah and Hamas and the Houthis and all those people around the world that support them would go into overdrive and say, no, you can't do this. Well, Hamas was taken care of. Hezbollah, most of Hezbollah had their pagers blow them up. How epic was that? And the Houthis are otherwise busy because they got the shit bombed out of them by the USS. I don't remember if it was the Gerald Ford or the George Washington or whatever one of the aircraft carriers. And that also Israel would be isolated in the Middle East and vulnerable to attack from Arab neighbors. And that turns out none of that's true. Everyone else is supporting the bombing of Iran because they all hate them too. And the last thing was that the United States would be isolated on the world stage and limited in what it could do to support Israel, which would benefit Russia and China. Of course, that isn't true at all. Everyone, while they're saying, ooh, Trump bad type stuff, Taco Man bad, everyone's like, yeah, we hate the Iranian regime. And we spend way too much money in our budget dealing with them. And so everyone's like, yeah, if you can take Iran off the plate here, we can free up another $20 billion or $50 billion in the UK, whatever they said their number was, so they can have transvestite frog dancing classes instead.
It's true. It's crazy. I mean, not frog dancing, but just the craziness that was happening. You're like, really? That's what we're going to do?
Yep. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that's all we got for you today. I could have saved that article for tomorrow, but I thought it would feed the algorithm here today, get some news in it. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that's all we got for you today. Thanks for joining us on this late episode of DYOR Live. If you're watching on the repeat, thank you very much. I really appreciate that. The fact that you got all the way to the end to hear me say that is an outstanding achievement in itself. Thanks, as I always say, on behalf of Mr. Pedro Garcia, the crypto chart analyst, and on behalf of me. Thanks for joining in today. Really appreciate it. We'll see you guys tomorrow, right? Pedro, tomorrow? Wednesday? Yeah, I'm good tomorrow.
Yeah, I am too.
We'll see ya. Be there. Kabong. Kabong. Pedro didn't hear the kabong. Kabong.